Welcome, everyone. This is Virginia Parsons, your Hangout mentor and the host of the Inspirational Businesswoman Show, where it is my passion and my intention to help bring you, the viewer, a gold mine of entrepreneurial tips, strategies, and advice to grow your business from inspirational businesswomen in the know. So I'm very pleased to have you here today. I know that your time is valuable, and it's my desire to bring you wonderful strategies and ideas to help you become more successful. So thank you for being here today. I would love it if you would write in the comment section your name and where you're hanging out from. And in addition, it would be terrific, since my whole idea of this show is to help create a whole collaborative of inspired business women. So feel free to also write, what you do, what your passion is, all about, so that people who are viewing can find out about you as well, and we can all get to connect and know each other. So please feel free to use the comment section for both of those areas. Now, you can also use the comment section to leave questions for our guest, and we'll try to get to those during the broadcast. But if we do not, we also have an after show, and you might want to come inside the Hangout to the after show to ask direct questions as well. Either way, put your questions down, and we'll be sure to get to them one way or another. Now, today's show is sponsored by Hangout-Marketing.com. where you can receive a free Hangout marketing assessment that's going to measure your skill sets and your knowledge and how you can use Hangouts on Air to brand and market your business, so you can have new and increased heights of success and visibility in your own business. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, all you need to do is text the word SUCCESS to the number 307-269-2040. Now, that assessment's only going to take you a couple of minutes to do, and you might even qualify for a free strategy session with me. I would love to talk to you about how you can use Hangouts in your own business. So go ahead and check that out. You can also go to Hangout-Marketing.com for more information. Now, today I am just thrilled to have a lady on here who has just got so much remarkable information for you on remote allergy relief and holistic allergy relief. Now, why would that be something of importance to you as a business owner? Well, I'll tell you what. I found out that over 50 million Americans suffer from allergies to the extent that it impairs their health and their sense of well-being. So what that means is it's probably interfering with their business success in some way. Also, if you're not one of those sufferers, I'll bet you have a loved one or someone you care about who is an allergy sufferer. So this information can be very valuable to you today. I want you to be able to take the tips that we provide for you and apply them in your own life and help your own business be even more successful. So what you're going to hear about today is coming to you from Dr. Jill Cohn. She is a doctor of chiropractic and the founder of Allergy Relief Clinics. She also is the founder of Remote Allergy Relief, and I'll let her tell you a little bit about what remote allergy relief is all about. So we've got some hot topics going on today. One of them is how to fire on all cylinders, because if you're not firing on all cylinders, you're probably not as productive as you could be. Also, let's learn a little bit about how you can release brain fog and fatigue that is so often associated with allergy responses. And finally, how to get respiratory relief fast. If you or someone you know has had problems because of allergies with respiratory issues, you're going to want to know about this, especially when there are some non-invasive, all-natural ways to approach that. So I'd like to bring Dr. Jill Cohn on in just a second. I want to give you a little more background. I'm looking here to see, hey, what's really important to her is not the sick care industry, but the health care industry. And with that in mind, she and her husband are launching a brand new series called Holistic Health TV. And I'll let her talk to you about that as well. So we've got a lot on our plate, so without taking any more time, Dr. Jill, would you please come on and say hi to our audience?
Hi, Virginia.
Go ahead, Dr. Jill.
Hi, Virginia. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm really grateful to be able to share my message with your audience of inspired businesswomen. I'm excited.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here, and you're an inspired businesswoman. That's the whole beauty of a show like this. We're bringing women and businesswomen from so many different backgrounds to share their expertise. We all have so much to provide, and I'm thrilled to have you here today. Let's start with a little background, Dr. Jill. I'm so interested in how you came to allergy relief through chiropractic, so I'm going to give the floor to you and let you share that with our audience.
Well, thank you, Virginia. You know, I have a very long background, and I started with being committed to organic food back in '78, and then by the time I was ready to have a baby, my husband and I started researching what to do to have our baby, and we wanted to be open to all sorts of possibilities. And you know, the safest thing turned out to be to have a home birth. This was amazing, a revelation to me. So we had a home birth, and from there, it was so empowering for me to give birth at home, as women have for millions of years, that it just made me feel like I could do anything. So I became a chiropractor because that was my dream of holistic healing. I loved chiropractic, and I so wanted to share that with the world. And as I was a network chiropractor, one of my friends told me that he had eliminated his peanut allergy. And I was aghast. I said, "You can't get rid of a peanut allergy. No way." So he sent me to a website, and there was really very little there that was helpful. But the names of some practitioners who were using the modality that got rid of his peanut allergy were there. So I committed to calling every one of them between Hawaii and New Mexico, asking them to quantify their results. And every one of them called me back. There were about 25 of them, and they were raving, just raving. So I got involved with this work. I purchased the software program. It's a very sophisticated software program that was invented in Australia about 20 years ago. And I've had incredible healings of so many hundreds of people over the past 5 years.
Well, that is magnificent, and I would agree with you. Who would have thought that you could take care of a peanut allergy this way?
Right. It actually, the software contains the digital representation, the sound of over 60,000 different allergens. So
the sound. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Someone has determined that there are sounds associated with each allergy. Is that correct?
Well, you know, Virginia, how I like to tell patients about it is in this book, The Field, that was written by Lynn McTaggart, an investigative journalist, powerful woman, 20 years ago. She went to physicist labs all over the world and said, "What's new in physics? How can I tell lay people about it?" And she was in one man's lab, and there on his lab slab was the proverbial hamster heart, usually kept alive by the atropine drip. This man had the hamster heart kept alive by the digital signal or the sound of atropine. And he proceeded to tell her that in the universe, we all are tuned in. That is the currency of communication in the entire universe, is digital signaling. Some might call it vibes.
Vibes, I love that. Well, we can all relate to vibes for sure. Maybe digital signaling is a little bit less, not as easy to grasp, but vibes, I got that.
Exactly.
Well, now you said something about having suffered for many, many years yourself with migraines. Can you share that with the audience?
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, you know, for 42 plus years, I had debilitating migraines, 1 to 3 a week. So I tried everything from the top neurologist at UCSF to acupuncture whenever possible, to chiropractic, you name it, change your diet, I did it. And nothing touched my migraines. And so when I went for my training for this program, I got my migraine. Of course, I said, I don't think I can participate at the level I would like to because I am just sick. And they questioned me and said, what do you think is causing it? And I said, well, it feels like shifts in the barometric pressure. And they asked me, is it high to low or low to high? And I thought they were crazy. But, you know, the fact is, that's how it is in the software program. So they treated me for high to low, which is when we have a storm front coming in, and my migraine melted away in the chair as I was being treated, and I have never had another one. And for some reason, it also took away my sensitivity to red wine and old cheeses, which I don't understand that correlation at all, but I'm very happy.
I don't blame you. That 42 years of migraines went away, and so what you're saying is that this program also treats barometric shifts in a similar way. Is that considered actually an allergy?
Isn't that odd? Yeah, I mean, what else could it be when you think about it? Well, how else could we categorize it? There is a file in the program that I love to just show people. I guide them to it when I'm working with them and say, you know, here we are. We're going to treat your sensitivities to sugar. Now we have some spaces left over. Are there any things in this file that also bother you? And that can look like air change with rain, heat, damp cold, fog, motion sickness, fluorescent lights, a lot of bizarro is how I categorize them, sort of things that you wouldn't consider to be an allergy, but actually when you think about it, yeah, that makes sense. So I throw those in at no extra charge and change lives. It's just a gift.
Oh, I am so inspired. As I say, I've had a sensitivity to red wines for a number of years, and I enjoy red wine, but my body does not like sulfites in there, so I just have to drink such small amounts that sometimes it's not even worth it. So, you know, I'm a great candidate for what you're doing. I know.
I'd love to help you, Virginia.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this concept of firing on all cylinders and by reversing the allergic symptoms.
Okay. Yeah. You know, I find that in my practice, the two most pervasive, or actually three most pervasive symptoms seem to be fatigue, brain fog, and then there's also sleep issues. So, you know, there are holistic means we can introduce to try and work on ourselves, and I'm all for that. And then when you need the big guns, you have to, if that doesn't work for you, then we have to use this holistic means, which is the software program I employ. But definitely, you know, that this brain fog and fatigue are huge symptoms of allergies, very pervasive. Some of the first things to melt away when I start working with people, and the sleep issues are really big too.
I can imagine that sleep would be something that would interfere with people's health and well-being anyway if you're not getting the sleep. But what you're saying is that sleep issues are a result of these allergic sensitivities.
That's true. Yeah, that's what I found as experientially, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's pause for a moment because I'd like to recognize a few people that are here with us today. We've got, Diane is all the way from New Zealand. She's here. Thanks, Diane, for joining us. Just love that.
Diane.
We've got Robin from Santa Cruz. Hey, Robin. And, excuse me, Elaine. And she's out of the East Coast. Oh, Elaine has a question. Let's take a moment, and before I lose it on the screen here. She says, I have seen a few people lose their allergic responses when they chose to shift into a place where they said, I'm done with war. Can't we get along? And she's got in saying to the cells. This is a statement they're making to the cells, to the elements, the combating elements of the allergic response. She wants to know what your thoughts on that are.
Elaine, that is beautiful. I am totally on board with you. There are many ways to skin a cat. When I was a chiropractor, when I only did chiropractic, I didn't feel like I had the only way to relieve back pain and nervous disability. But I want you to know I'm totally in alignment with you. On a cellular level, we have to make change, and if that's a good way, I haven't heard that one before, but I know it works. I'm with you.
Well, let's talk for a moment about what you had talked about with brain fog and an experience you had with one of your patients. I think it was a chef.
Oh, yes. one of my patients owns a commercial kitchen, and this person had become a recluse. She couldn't go out with her friends anymore. She had such severe food allergies and sensitivities that she, young person, you know, middle, early 30s, couldn't go out, and she was getting a little depressed, and somehow she and I connected, and she came in, and now she said when she used to go into her kitchen, which she rented out to chefs and vendors who prepared commercial foods, you know, for sale, she would get sick just from the gluten in the air and the butter flavorings. She said butter flavorings are really huge, among other things that were airborne. Anything airborne can really get you. And so she started coming in, and she really felt her life change. Her fog, her brain fog was her biggest symptom, and her fatigue, and they just started melting away, and it was so beautiful to experience the true her shining forth, taking leadership. Now she has 2 businesses, and she's just thrilled with her results. She did happen to end up coming in for 30 appointments because she wouldn't stop at just 10. She says, I want to get every allergy I have. So that was her choice, you know, but it's a thrill to help her. We have a video testimony of her talking. It's fabulous.
Oh, terrific. Well, you know, I think it's probably common if a person has allergic tendencies that they have them in more than one area. Is that what you found?
Yes, exactly. And it's interesting. It seems to depress the entire nervous system. Any allergies bring down every aspect of yourself. So that, say, you know, you really aren't inherently allergic to corn, but because you have dust and dust mites, mold and mildew, cats, dogs allergies, you know, eggs, dairy, you're going to look allergic to corn too. And once we start lifting up and getting rid of some of these sensitivities, your whole immune system responds. And the immune system is so brilliant. I mean, my goodness, we're self-healing organisms all the way. So once you give a little lift, boy, everybody just comes back and really feels a whole lot better. It's very exciting.
Oh, it sounds like it. Now, you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, and so that's not a place that everyone can get to, although it's a great destination. But you have what you call remote allergy relief, and talk to people about how this work is done remotely using your really powerful programming.
Yeah, it's a gift. I tell you, my brilliant husband just figured this out recently, 7 months ago, and we had studied EFT for a year, which is the tapping on the acupuncture points. Very powerful. I recommend people doing it at home. And then Russell said, you know, I'm going to figure out a way that we can do this outside the Bay Area so that more people can get the advantage of getting rid of their allergies. And he did, and he figured out how to do it via Skype, and I do the tapping on Skype with the people while he's sending the digital signal of the allergens to them anywhere on their body. So I've done little kids, and I just have them wrap the headset around their belly so that the sound is going to their skin, because they don't like sitting there with those headsets, little 3-year-olds, you know, it's not fun for them. But that's how it works. We send the signal, we do the tapping, there's a 2-hour avoidance period post-treatment, and that's it. Generally, 85% of the time, we don't have to retreat anything.
Wow, so remotely, it sounds like it's as powerful as being right there with you.
Yes, in a sense, I think it's more powerful because I have to slow down a little bit in the office because I'm doing actual manual muscle testing, so it slows me down. So I can't do as much tapping in the office. I have to use an instrument, which slows me down a lot, and it's not as effective. So
I'll be darned.
Yeah, the tapping's fabulous.
Now, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. Is that correct?
Exactly, Virginia. You're familiar with it.
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, I used it in my own coaching a number of years ago to help people with what were subconsciously driven sabotaging behaviors. Same thing. Same idea. Yeah, so I'm familiar with it, but I don't know that the audience totally was. So let's go into this in a little bit more detail. I know you said you had 4 tips you wanted to share with our audience that they could use at home, one of which is the EFT tapping technique. So I'll let you go ahead with those tips.
Do you want to hear the EFT first? Shall we do that?
Sure.
You know, I have 2 tips that I think people can use whether they have food allergies or respiratory allergies. So we'll start with those. Those are global. One of them is EFT, and I'll tell you, I'm happy to give you a handout that's going to allow you to, because this is a lot to remember, I know, but the EFT will give you a handout at the end. Virginia will tell you how to contact us, and we'll just shoot you over a handout. But what we're doing is tapping on acupuncture points, thousands of year-old effective points, while we're doing a setup statement. So first we'll say the setup statement is, even though I'm sensitive to dust and dust mites. Let's start with that one. So we'll tap on our karate chop point. It's about 2 to 4 inches right here. And we'll say, even though I'm sensitive to dust and dust mites, I deeply and completely accept myself. Or you can say, I deeply love and accept myself, either way. And then we'll switch hands. The other hand, same thing. Even though I'm sensitive to these substances or this dust and dust mites, I deeply love and accept myself. And then again, the third time on this karate chop point. Then we go to the inner eyebrows and say sensitive to these substances. And then out here we go, these substances. This is the outer eyebrows. Then the cheekbones, these substances. Under the nose, these substances. Under the lips, these substances. On the collarbones, these substances. On the left rib, the other left, by the heart, and the top of the head, these substances. And that's the protocol. And what you want to do is quantify how bad off you are on a scale of 1 to 10 before you begin the protocol. So you'd say, I'm on a 7 with regard to my sensitivity. Like say I'm really sneezing, even though I'm sneezing a lot. Let's say that, yeah. And then after you have done a round, you re-quantify. You'll probably be down to a 3 or 4. Then do another round. I pretty much promise you, by the time you get to your 3rd round, you are going to be feeling 100% better.
Just by using the emotional freedom technique and equating it with the substance that is disturbing them or giving the allergic response.
Yeah, I was wrong there. I think they should actually do their symptom. Yeah. So
Okay.
they should put in their symptom, you know, even though I'm sneezing a lot, or even though I feel brain fog, or even though I feel exhausted, like that.
Okay, or even though I have a migraine.
Yeah, even though I have a migraine. That's beautiful. Absolutely. That should help a lot. 3 rounds. Give it 3 rounds and keep re-quantifying. And sip some water and take a deep, expansive breath between rounds so that you really feel where you are. And then should I go into the next one, Virginia?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Yeah, so then I believe in muscle testing, and this is so useful. Many of you probably have been to chiropractors and they do muscle testing, and this was discovered by Dr. John Goodhart back in the 50s, and it's based on the information that in the face of something we perceive as a lie or a threat, our muscles go weak. So here we are testing things, whether they are good for us to take in or not. I use this a lot when I go out to eat. You know, and if I'm having a wine, often I get stuffed up from certain wines, and that's because of the additives that they legally put into them. So you go like this. You make a circle with one hand, and you take your finger and try and break through it with the other. And so I'll say, this is for Dr. Jill, and this is for Godzilla. Godzilla breaks through. So it's yes, no, yes, no. And so then I'll go, shall I drink the Pinot? Yes. Should I drink the Cab? No. So it's pretty simple. And if you get to the place where you are reliable and you can trust your signal, because it's only your own signal, it's so useful. You can use it for every aspect of your life. Can't go wrong.
I love this. Now, because I'm always hesitant to order wine, I don't know if I'll have a reaction to it. So now all I have to do is bring the finger up and say yes or no to it. And if it says no, it'll break open, right?
Exactly, Virginia. And practice every day, because then you'll become more confident and you won't feel any confusion.
Oh, this is great. Are you all getting this? These are such great, simple tips. All right, you've got a couple more, and I want to make sure we get them in the time we have allotted. Go ahead, Jill.
Yes, okay. I want people to know that you should really go gluten-free. And I know that sounds like a huge bomb to drop, but actually it's a gift. And I've been gluten-free for over a year now, and I had no idea the relationship between my chronic sinusitis and somewhat subclinical depression I was experiencing. And actually I came to a place where I would once I stopped eating gluten, I would tell my patients, if you're really virtuous and go gluten-free, if you're really virtuous, every 6 weeks you can take yourself out to an Italian dinner and have all the bread and pasta you want. Well, when I attended the Gluten Summit over a year ago, I listened to the neurologists, and they really got to me. They said, if you don't have an autoimmune disease and you eat gluten, you will get an autoimmune disease. If you do have an autoimmune disease and you eat gluten, you will get a second autoimmune disease. They do not trifle with gluten. It's very serious. It's considered a neurotoxin. So I feel like it's my duty to share that with people. Life without gluten has become really beautiful because I feel great most of the time, all the time, really. So I just never touch the stuff, and I eat meat, vegetables, and fruits, you know, and whole foods, and it's fabulous.
That is a great tip, and I would second that about gluten in my own experience. So it's your body is actually going to an autoimmune response over time because of so much exposure to it. Isn't that part of it?
Exactly, Virginia. That's right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is just fabulous. Now, did we have one more tip, or shall we go into demonstrating the dust mite process?
Well, let me just quickly say one more thing, because it is actually in alignment with the dust mite. If you want to go ahead and put that up, that's fine too. Okay. My tip is to use therapeutic doses of vitamin C if you have respiratory allergies, because vitamin C has been shown in studies that it actually acts as well as any sort of pharmaceutical product or better in over 60% of people. So what that looks like is 2,000 milligrams an hour of vitamin C, and you can find out within 2 hours if you're one of the 60%. So just take 2,000 milligrams for a couple of hours, and if you start feeling relaxed and you're not keyed up from that particular problem of sneezing and itchy nose and postnasal drip and all that, you're probably one of us, and vitamin C therapy will help you. So I go for that. And what you're seeing on the screen right now is my program set up to treat dust and dust mites, which is probably the most common allergen I treat. So I wanted to put the most common thing up that I do. And you'll see in the upper left docking site, we call them, where the white is, you'll see that it's the primary docking site, and the word on the top says priority, because we can prioritize in that site. Each time I treat, I put up the 10 worst for that person and let their body inform me where to treat that day. But you'll see that it says dust mites, what does it say? Dust mite, I can hardly read it. Oh, proteins, larvae, excrement, enzymes. And then there's a lot of dust underlines in there too. So what I do is turn on the machine, and it'll turn orange up there. And it'll send the signal of all those things, the proteins, larvae, excrement, enzymes, to the person as a sound. So it sort of just sounds like bzzz. And we do the tapping while that's playing. And then I'll click and turn that off, and I'll highlight the next button down, which says individuals. And I would begin and highlight the agricultural dust mites, or the agricultural dust mix, and we would do an entire round of EFT. And then I would do the cardboard dust, and we'd do an entire round of EFT, and then carpet dust, and cement dust, and house dust, and insect dust, and what does that one say? Skin dust, wood dust, paper dust, yeah. And so we do individual EFT rounds of all those, and then I highlight all of them together, and then I highlight those things you see over on the right, the Dumai, the Renmai, the triple warmer. These are big meridians in Chinese medicine, because this was invented by an acupuncturist 20 years ago. And so then we'll be treating the lungs and the skin, because this patient has eczema and asthma. And then we highlight all these things and ways to help the person, and everything on the left is highlighted. And then we do a final round of EFT saying, even though I was sensitive to these substances, I deeply and completely accept myself. And that's the end of the session using that, using the program. And then there's a 2-hour avoidance period of dust and dust mites. So the person does have to be a bit careful for 2 hours. But that's it. Great.
Great. I mean, it's remarkable that there's a program that would have vibrations or vibes that address all those little sub areas of dust and dust mites. Dr. Jill? Oh, looks like we've frozen for Dr. Jill. Well, are you back, Dr. Jill?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay. I said I didn't know why, I don't know why those sounds are so effective, and I don't claim to know how they're created, but they are very effective.
I guess that's the bottom line, and this is a totally non-invasive treatment modality, which to me is just so exciting.
Yes, me too.
Well, we've come, see, the 30 minutes just flies. It always does, because it's so fascinating to learn from everyone. I know that you have something very special that's available to our viewers. Would you like to talk to them about that?
Yes. If you suffer with allergies, or your children or your loved ones, and you want to have a free consultation with me and talk about your case in particular, I'm willing to do that for 5 people. So just send in your, how do we do this, Russell?
You go to that link.
You go to the link that's underneath my image, and send us your complete the form, and my dear husband Russell will get back to you, and anyone who fills that form out will get the EFT handout, which is 2-sided. It's very thorough and very helpful. I recommend everyone do it who suffers with anything, not just allergies. It's really a gift.
So they're to go to remoteallergyrelief.com/Virginia?
Exactly, Virginia. Thank you.
Okay, and that you'll not only be able to do that, but you'll get the free EFT handout so that you can practice the very simple tips she's been providing for us as well. Yes. Great. Do you have, I'm posting right now in the comment section the link to the after show. We'd love to have you come in and join us in the after show and ask Dr. Jill any questions that you might have, or just any more comments you have about this, because I know this is not something you've probably heard about. This is a very unique protocol that just might be the answer for you or someone you love, and now that she can do it remotely, all the better. So, Dr. Jill, do you have any final words for us before we close the broadcast?
You know, I did want to tell people about HHTV, Virginia.
Oh, please do. I'm sorry, I missed that. Go right ahead.
That's fine. I'm so excited because our goal is to change the healthcare system from the sick care system in the United States to one of holistic health, using all these fabulously gifted practitioners and modalities that we have in the U.S. So we've begun HHTV. We're launching this month. And we're so excited because we're birthing this program. All the shows this month are about holistic fertility, vaccinations, and birth. So I have some incredible professors and practitioners and speakers, and I'd love to share that with you and your audience.
Now, where can they find out more information about Holistic Health TV?
HHTV.com. No.
HolisticHealthTV.
HolisticHealthTV.com. My apologies.
No problem. So HolisticHealthTV.com is having some wonderful experts on that you might be interested in, and they're talking about fertility initially, correct?
Fertility, birth, and vaccinations. We're covering all 3 areas holistically, which is a huge topic for people.
Terrific. So feel free to check that out. And again, we'd like to invite you to come on into the after show and join us. Next week, we're going to have a wonderful lady on who specializes in your financial health. So we've talked about our natural health, and next week we'll be talking about financial health. So we look forward to seeing you then. Until next week, unless you want to join us in the after show, we'll see you then. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Virginia.
Bye now.